This week, we have probably one of the biggest guests that we have ever had here on Crash City and has turned into a good friend. We have actor and comedian Omar Gooding. Now, if you guys know Omar Gooding, he has had a very interesting life and time in the spotlight. He is still a comedian now, still working on amazing projects. And this was a conversation that I have been looking forward to for a very long time. But also, we have an announcement. By the time this episode comes out, we will have launched, hopefully at this point, we will have launched our newest district, which will be a new channel. It will be called Crash Cade, which will feature the gaming, the TCG, and many more things from not only myself, but my other friends that like to come and collab. So this is going to be an interesting time, and I'm super excited. We have done so well within the first year of Crash City. Within the first year of Crash City, we have done more than I have ever thought, and we are still growing. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, share this. Go and follow the new channel, Crash Cade, and I will see each and every one of you after this video. First and foremost, before we start, thank you for actually doing this. This is awesome.
My man, no problem.
Gotten to look. Your mind towards comedy is amazing. So that's actually what I want to get into right now. Is you were talking about the do's and don'ts, the things you will and won't do in comedy. Like, where did that mindset happen when you were growing up? Did you see your brother do anything? Did you see other comedians do things that you were just like, hey, I'm not going to do that?
I was definitely younger. I mean, it was one of those things where I just had principles, I had morals, but it's not just that. It's knowing my lane at an early age, right? So I knew what I would be able to portray. Some of it was trial and error, okay? Like the do's and don'ts. Some things were like, I don't think there's so much don'ts, but knowing what I would do justice. Knowing, my brother did a movie called Radio, which I thought was one of his finest work. Fantastic work. And the thing about it is I tried out for a role where I had to play like a developmentally challenged individual, and I made a complete fool of myself, just to be quite honest. It was a serious role. And when they finished, they were like, oh, thank you for coming, Mr. Gooding. And I said, okay, I blew that, know what your range is and what your capabilities. Now, if I find a role that's suitable to me, how I go about determining that is really relatability. If I say, okay, this could be me if I made a right instead of a left, if I stayed in school, or if I let these people take me down this path, that type of thing. So those roles you can kind of check off, as like, this is Omar and an alternate reality type of thing, as opposed to me really, I challenge myself to things that are exciting, fun stuff that I'd say, okay, I can see either, but with me, I always know that the roles that my fans appreciate me in are more so like the hero roles. I don't do too many bad guy villain roles in the sense of like, oh, that piece of crap, that real, this was, the guy you're rooting against versus the guy that's either the hero or the guy that you're rooting for. You know what I mean? So I like those type of roles. And there are so many roles out there. Why not choose the ones that suit you best?
Okay. Did that decision come early on? Because I know you talk about it so many times, and I want to talk about just a little bit. But Playmakers, sure. Obviously, you are the top draft pick of this fictional team, and even in the first, I think 15 minutes of the episode, you're already doing push-ups on the field, trying to get rid of the veteran. Is that something that you were actually happy for, or no?
I was so excited about Playmakers, and so disappointed when it didn't go past the first year, but I understood why. I understood the reasoning behind it. Now, I started acting when I was 9 years old. I had a regular job by the age of 12. Hanging with Mr. Cooper, I did throughout my high school years. So first day of high school, I wanted to play football. And very first day as a freshman, I went up, tryouts, football and all that. And the coach gave a long speech about dedication. Say, practice starts today. And I was like, all right, coach, but I got to film today. Is that going to be an issue? He's like, of course it is. Good, and get on out of here, So I got the opportunity to audition for this. Now, the crazy thing about Playmakers is I had booked a movie called The Playmaker the year before.
Oh.
And it was me, it was Boris Kojo, Zoe Saldana. It was a wonderful cast. And this was at a time where a lot of football players and athletes were financing movies, but they didn't understand how that works. So the movie actually ran out of funding. Like the football, I was like, okay, I'm seeing the dailies, and you guys want more money? No, that's it. I'm not putting no more money into it. And the production shut down. We never finished this great film called The Playmaker, which would have been, it's phenomenal what we had accomplished. But anyway, then the year after that, and in that I played I played a linebacker in that one. But anyway, so then I got the opportunity to audition for ESPN's Playmakers. And it was just one of those, I got to book this. I get to live my dream of being a football star. And it was one of the best times of my life. It was, everybody always asks me what my favorite project was. Smart Guy and Baby Boy are like 1A, 1B, but then Playmakers is a close second, man. I mean, I filmed it out in Toronto, California, which I absolutely adored being out there for 6-7 months. The chance to not only act like a football player, but being around the CFL, which was, what they were saying was, right from the beginning, they said, we cannot mention NFL. The NFL is not behind this. They're not endorsing this at all. Because at that time, everything, if you were to go watch it, like you watch this interview, let me check out Playmakers, and you watch it, you go, wow, this was really good. It was ahead of its time. Cinematically, the style that they shot it in, it was fast paced. It was exciting. The acting was incredible. The execution was beautiful. But a lot of the storylines, if you look at it now, you go, yeah, okay, we know about steroids. We know about corrupt this and corrupt that and, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. But at the time, that stuff wasn't all the way out there like that, so NFL was like, no, we're not getting behind none of these storylines. So no. But we filmed it in the CFL. We filmed it in Canada. It was with the CFL players. I actually got in better shape throughout the process of filming it, which was crazy. Because when I first got there, we did that scene that you're talking about. That was one of the first scenes we shot in the first week, where I do the push-ups and then I jump up and then I race Russell Hornsby, right? The great Russell. And he was actually a track star. He ran track. I didn't. As I told you, I didn't even get to play football in high school. So he was killing me. He had to hold back while I was going all out. You know what I mean? And I remember I blew both my hamstrings out at the second time. Or at the last time, because in acting, we do things over and over and over. I remember all these athletes were watching us going, bro, you guys run it more than we run it. Like, that's amazing how many times they had you run. There wasn't no stunt doubles or none of that. It was like, no, these are close-up shots. Not even like somebody on the feet. It was always us in the beginning. A few weeks later, after I've been around these athletes, we're in locker rooms together, I'm doing push-ups all day long. I had a sauna in my apartment out there. I lost weight, got ripped up, and the producers came to me and said, hey, bro, you're looking good. We're going to have to reshoot some of the early scenes. And I was like, as long as it ain't that running scene, they looked at me like, it's the running scene, bro. So we had to reshoot that. But it was, I'm telling you, just one of the best times of my life.
So, like something like that, like Playmakers, do you think that truly inspired another great football show called The Game? Do you think that was something that could have carried on?
Sure. I mean, it's funny. I thought you were going to say Ballers, because a lot of people call me up like, yo, that's Playmakers. I'm like, no, that's a comedy. Even The Game, those are different. This was a drama, and it was beautifully executed, I think, on all parts. Because the only thing that was disappointing was the producers were like, you guys really got to kill this first season in order for us to get picked up. But it just wasn't going to happen. If the NFL is against it, no other network is going to jeopardize ruining a contract with the NFL. And that was mainly the point. So disappointing, but a lot of fun.
So for you personally, I see the Lakers stuff. Obviously, you've given your thoughts on LeBron leaving, and now he's in Philadelphia. But football wise, are you a Rams guy? Are you a Chargers guy?
Funny thing. So football, I'm a Saints fan.
Really?
I am a New Orleans Saints fan. So in LA, in my, I guess, era of watching football and really being into sports, because, I'm an entertainer. So a lot of my dad wasn't like a big sports fan. So I wasn't like a Laker or I guess I would have been a Knicks fan because they're all from New York. It wasn't until I was around 18, 19 and I went and had roommates. And I'm like, what are we watching? Watching the Lakers. Oh, the Lakers, boom. Then I went and followed the history. I'd find out everything I could about the Lakers, and then that was it for me. But we didn't have a football team at that time. We were in between. Let's see, it wasn't the LA Raiders at the time. I think it was already Oakland. I was a fan of players as far as football was concerned. Terrell Owens was one of my favorite players. So I was like briefly a Niners fan, and then he joined the Eagles. I think I wrote a rap song where I was like, my Eagles don't get a ring, I'm burning this down and all this type of stuff. So it was one of those, apparently we're outside. They're on to me. Hold on, wait till they back the vehicle out the way. So anyway, so check it. So when I did, I think our highest point of football was USC.
Oh, okay.
During the Trojans, right? The Trojans, big run with Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, and all of them. You know what I mean? So I loved Reggie Bush. So I followed him over to the Saints. And that was the first time I said, okay, y'all, this is my team. And from 06 to 09, I was heavy. I'm telling everybody that would listen, y'all, I'm telling you, I'm a Saints fan. These Saints going to do something. They got Leinart. We got Drew Brees over there. We had Colston. We had the two-headed monster that was kind of like how he had it in SC, where he had a big back, and then you had my man Bush following him. And in 09, we made it all the way to the promised land, man. I threw the biggest Super Bowl party ever. And we barely won by them having to kick that onside kick at halftime for us to pull it out, man. That might be the only one we ever get, but we'll always remember that, man. Who that?
No, that's amazing. A former guest of mine, that's Terrell Burgess. He's currently on the Saints. Great player,
awesome.
Great safety, I believe. So
yeah, I was talking mess about Tyler Show, but I don't know. I think he might pull something off this year. We'll see. Should be interesting. Could be interesting.
Your whole division
mad that
too.
we passed. Yeah, exactly. Very winnable division. I was mad. I really wanted Shedeur. And I thought that it was going to happen, but I just wanted it because, first of all, he was coming out. He was one of the top picks at quarterback. I thought he would be. And the way he just kept dropping when he came to us, I was like, come on now. I know we about to pick him. And then we passed and we kept passing on him. And then when we picked up Show, I was just kind of upset. Like, why? This guy's 26 and da. But we finished the season strong. I think we won 4 out of the last 5 games. We got a couple new pieces around, did a little rebuilding. I'm sad to see our Mr. Swiss Army Knife leaving. I love him, but it's all good. I think we got a decent shot.
What
Saints
about your
and my
Lakers?
Going to be real interesting.
Your Lakers.
The Lakers is
I
gonna be
want
really
to talk
interesting.
about your Lakers, man.
Let's
you
get
have
into it.
been
You see the
hyping
goal.
them up. I'm a Spurs fan. Obviously, I'm coming off heartbreak, but I think we can make it. But why do you think
you ain't gonna just gloss over Spurs like that? You ain't just gloss. You ain't just slide into my Lakers. I'm talking about the Spurs for a minute, man. That was amazing. I mean, it's like you're forever tied into the Knicks. You will be the reason that they won that they're only. No, I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to be mean to the Knicks. I don't really know no enemies. I already had to beef with Cameron and had New York mad at me for so long. I think the Knicks are going to do really well for years to come. But for whatever reason, when they got to the finals, bro, they needed every miracle possible to beat you guys. It was insane. I mean, even that maybe not the very last game. I think the very last game, they kind of just held their mud and said, all right, let's just get it done. But like the game before, when you're up 30, every single thing had to go wrong for the Spurs. And every single possible thing had to go right for them to win that game. My mouth was on the floor. I couldn't understand it. And it was like, okay, they're still going to. You never thought that the Spurs were going to lose that game until they actually did. Like every possession, you were like, it's got interesting. It's close, but come on, dribble the ball. Damn, he didn't dribble the ball. All right, fine. Okay, get it to Brunson. Okay, what is he doing? Did he just launch that bull? Oh my God, Anunoby with the miracle tip. Like it was insane. So anyway, the Lakers. So I got so much to say. I've had a lot of time to really kind of think about it, and I really want to make a statement to LeBron James. We definitely appreciated him. We're not saying this is the problem because people are saying we didn't like him. And I'm saying we. I'm talking for the heart of the Laker fan base right here. The real fans. I have a buddy of mine. Shout out to my boy Marcus Nash. We go at it all the time because he's been a Laker fan longer than me, but that's only because he's older than me. But he's like, he was always the guy in our like Laker chats that we would all jump on and be like, what are you talking about, man? He's like, well, I think LeBron is the best basketball boy. What is wrong with you, boy? He said that LeBron was coming to the Lakers and we all went crazy. No, man, we are Kobeist. We don't want no damn LeBron James over here. We know that Jordan is the GOAT. We know that, but we didn't want him to join the Lakers. We always wanted to beat Jordan. I was always rooting for Utah. I was rooting for the Seattle. I was obviously rooting for the Lakers. And then Jordan kept winning and it was just like frustrating, but my hat's off to you, my friend. Now, LeBron James, first part of it is I'm such a big Kobe till I die, Laker till I die guy because I watched Kobe Bryant for 82 games every year, right? I only saw LeBron 4 times a year. twice when we played him, and then a couple of key matchups, and then maybe 4 more times in the finals when he's playing Golden State, and so forth and so on. I didn't really have a true appreciation for the guy. I'll give him that. When he came over to the Lakers, that changed. I got to see his work ethic. I got to see how much that influence kind of trickled down and so forth and so on. I have a couple of, when you have the Mamba mentality, nothing else will do. When you're watching a kid that has that courage to take that last shot, even if it's air ball, you pass him the ball, that shot is going up. That's now how I like basketball players to be. I saw Jordan say, push my man, my dear friends, B. Ross, push him to the side and hit that game winner. That's what I want. I don't want to hear nothing about you made the better play by passing the ball. That's just not how we get down. We don't care. They Kobe, he passes it to, no. Robert Horry saved our ass because the ball was tipped to him. We didn't say, get Robert, please save it. Like, no. And I love Robert Horry. I think he's one of the best, most clutch, baddest man. Better pick up a newspaper or something. I love Robert Horry. Saved our ass. I don't think I ever had almost a heart attack at 20-something years old, but I jumped out of my shorts when he hit that buzzer beater, and we ran down the street. I thought we were nuts. But anyway, so with LeBron, hear me, LeBron. We're not saying that we don't appreciate you. When we say we didn't want him to come, we didn't like him. No, it's not that we didn't want you. You were just on the other side. We're competitors. Mm-hmm. We're on the West. You over there on the East, running through the East. Now you're going to join the Lakers? We were like, hell no. And then he joined. And we went, well, look at this. We're back relevant again. We're all in the new. Everyone's talking about the Lakers this, the Lakers that. This is what we're used to. Now, we were going through something that we don't really do out here, which was a rebuild after Kobe was done. We usually just build a team and go for the championship. We don't wait for, in 5 or 6 years. But we had a nice little core of some young players. LeBron got rid of all of that. Shipped them all out. I was like, damn, we loved all the Julius Randles and we loved all of them, but they were gone. And then they flourished somewhere else, right? You got AD up in here. We loved AD. I didn't know AD was so injury prone because I didn't watch AD. Except for 2, 3, 4 times when he played us and we went, okay, he's kicking our ass. So we were happy to get him. But here's where I get into trouble. The so-called bubble championship.
Don't tell me you count that.
Let me explain to you why. For one, so there's several reasons why I count it. Several reasons. For one, the number 17. Okay? When we won, it tied us with Boston at the time. Mm-hmm. So we were tied with the most championships ever. You know how long we hated Boston? You know what we've had to endure with Boston? Half of it, some of it I lived through. Most of it I just had to watch. It's just, VHS, DVDs going, damn, we could never beat that. This was terrible. And they had such a lead that they grew and developed in an era where it was almost like cheating, in my opinion. But I digress. So I was appreciative of LeBron for winning that thing. Also, the year 2020 was the most devastating year in human history, in my opinion. I didn't live through the Great Depression, so I don't know what that's like. But for something to unite the entire world, not just the country, in this worldwide pandemic where we were all scared to death, this came after we lost my hero in sports, my greatest player of all time, Kobe Bryant, in the most tragic way I could think of, holding his daughter. Like, this awful, right? And then George Floyd gets murdered. Like, it was just an awful year. We needed basketball. We needed the distraction, and we needed to win that for Kobe. In my opinion, this is what I said. This is somebody they've lost their mind, but I'm sorry. This is my opinion. We were going to win that for Kobe no matter what. Also, we were the number 1 seed. People act like we were just like the number, like we snuck in the bubble and all of a sudden we just made it through off a miracle. No, we were the best team in basketball anyway. And Kobe died. We were going to win it for him. LeBron, of course he was a major factor in that ring. Of course he was. AD, however, hit that 3 and said what when he hit it? Kobe. And the place went nuts. I was crying. It was insane, bro. But here's the thing about the bubble, that I don't know why there's a debate about this. I mean, I know why. The reason why there's a debate, because the Lakers won. And it could have been any team. Whichever team won would say that was a real championship. And everyone else would say it was a bubble. That's just that is the facts, bro. But here's the thing. Where was the advantage? Why is it discounted? Where was the advantage of being all basketball? No distractions. We weren't playing at home. We didn't play in LA. We were on the other side of the country. We were all in Orlando. For sure, so East Coast team should have had more of an advantage. We were all away from our families. They were all away from their fans, shouting their name and giving them energy. It was just basketball. And when it was just basketball with no distractions, you could hear the squeaking on the floor, no commentary, nothing. The Lakers were the best team. And I could only imagine the things going on in your mind when you have to do your job. You know you're being watched by the entire world. Everything you say, everything you do, everything you don't do is being scrutinized to the very moment. So there's a lot of pressure on you. And our hero perished in a helicopter. There was so much pressure to win, and you had to be perfect. You had to be perfect. My hats are off to them, and it breaks my heart that it's discredited in any way. They don't give San Antonio that hard when the lockout, when you won that little short. Yeah, they don't even bring that up. They don't even talk about that. How many games was it, and none of that. But it was a tremendous year. Now, LeBron won. He brought greatness back. He brought us to the mountaintop. Super appreciative. He was the man. We embraced him. Plus, he gave that awesome speech where he said, "Forget this paper. I'm gonna speak to the heart, to the Laker fans." We accepted him. He was one of us. We loved him. Now, if he would have played for 2 seasons, I think that would have ended like that. We'd have been like, put LeBron's statue up and retire his jersey and all that. But 8 seasons? 8? It was too long. He kept resetting the roster. Obviously he had a bad deal with AD going down and so forth and so on. But it was just like, bro, you were on the East. You went to 10 finals and you won 4 and all that. You came to the West, which, again, I'm trying to give him more credit than talking crap. I applauded him coming to the Lakers just as a fan. Look at him like, wait a minute. You've been running through the East. You gonna come to the Lakers? You know you're going to win over the fan base. That's going to be hurdle number 1. 2, you going to battle through the heavy stacked Western Conference. I can't believe he did it. The fact that he never made it back to the finals, it's hard not to. I mean, just one of 8. It's just it's tough. And then we go, well, what about the 8 years before that? We didn't have nobody. Y'all to do nothing. Yeah, we didn't have nobody. And we didn't do nothing. But we had LeBron and only made it once. So it's to me, I'm not sure why he stayed so long. It's crazy that this was the longest tenure that he had. I mean, in total, he played in Cleveland more years. But the 8 years straight, and I still don't believe it. I'm like, I keep going, what's that? But damn, that was 8 years? It's crazy to me. So when he announced that he was moving on, yes, we rejoiced. Not like, finally, we hate him. No, we're just ready to move on. We didn't even mean, okay, now that he's gone, we're going to win the championship. That's not what we're rejoicing about. We're just ready to move on. Now, this is the thing, in my mind, this is the craziest thing about it. We have Luka Dončić.
Yes.
In his young prime, okay? Yes. If he would have left us and we had just a roster full of nobodies and some youngsters, we'd probably be like this. Damn, why'd he leave? This is terrible. We would talk about rejoicing. But we do have Luka, for crying out loud. And we have Austin Reaves, who, we get it. You don't even have to say it because we're thinking the same thing everyone else is. He's fool's gold. He's great during. Now, let's just say this is true, and I'm gonna tell you why it's not, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Let's just say he's only good during the regular season. Okay, fine. If we know that, then that means we're still gonna finish in the top 4 or 5 seeds. We're not gonna be worried about the play because we got this great player that's taking the pressure off of Luka, and he's gonna get us to where we got to get us playoffs, and then we're on our own, right? Now, every year that has been his problem. Except this last year, and this was the biggest year. Now, here's the thing. First of all, he was injured. Coming off injury, thrown into the fire of the playoffs, we made it past Houston, largely due to LeBron. Thank you, LeBron. Thank you for getting us past Houston after they said it was going to sweep us. And LeBron said, watch this. Old man, my ass. And he helped us get past Houston. It was awesome. We said, look at this man. I started going, giving him the GOAT chant and all that. I was like, look at this dude. I loved it. Then we came across the best team in basketball. At the time, obviously the Knicks and Spurs were like, yeah, right. But you gotta, these are the defending champs. Let's just call them that. We had to play them. And Austin comes back. First game, he went 4 out of 13. 1 second, guys. I'm almost done. 4, well, ish, but these 4 for 13 shooting. He had a disastrous first game back. But the last 3 games, he turned back into his regular season self. Coming off of this injury And that's what, in my opinion, got him the big contract. Because when he first came back, I said, ain't no way he get no big contract. He can forget about that because he disappears in the playoffs. But he balled out. Look at the numbers. Austin Reaves is going to be that guy moving forward, in my opinion. Luka definitely has something to prove. He listens. He's tuned in. He's going to be solid. I'm not mad at Kessler. I don't like the racial thing that we're saying, so I'll keep it to athletics. They're slower. Yeah. They don't play great defense. They is our 2 stars, right? But I think team defense is going to come into key. If they can gel, we're not going to win it all this year. That's easy. But I think we're going to make enough noise. We're going to do a lot better than people think we are. I think we have a chance. I think if we get Kuminga, we'll have to revisit this conversation. But for now, the way the roster is built, I believe we can at least make the playoffs without having to worry about no, play-in. And depending on who we play, as long as we're not somehow matched up against you guys or OKC in the first damn round, I think we can make it out of the first round. And then make some noise. And then, hey, anything in that. Somebody gets hurt here or there, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, Lakers is in the finals. And look at this. Oh, God, look at God. Look at God. So we'll see. I'm very optimistic. Lakers are always believing we can win. That's just because we do. We win. That's what we do. We got champ. That's why we tied. Well, we have now the second most, period. Because that's our fan base. That's what we expect. And it's bright over here. These lights are bright. We've seen players come and crash up into the wave. These players are snipers, 3-point specialists. Then they come to Lakers, can't hit the ball outside of a bar. I'm like, what is going on? Well, I thought you was playing against us. You'd hit every 3 in America. Now you on our team and you can't shoot. So there's a lot of stuff to work with. I love our new rookies. I love Carr. I love this guy. I love this kid. I think he's going to be a beast. Our second-year guy, Thadu, with what bad names, but the young Duncan Beast that played out and been balling out over summer. I can't wait to see these guys, but they're going to need a couple years to gel, obviously. And I will pivot and say, in my opinion, humbly, I believe the same of LeBron and them Sixers. Now, I will say this. When he signed to the Sixers, I was like, whoa. Yeah, that was the only team I was worried about. I said, wherever he goes, he go to Golden State, we can get past them boys. He go back to Cleveland, that's fine, whatever. The Miami, that could be good. But if he goes to the Sixers, now that they got James, that's going to be a problem. And he did. And I went again. Hats off to LeBron. That was a brave move. It was almost as brave as coming to the Lakers. Because coming to the Lakers was like, yeah, right. He didn't have AD. He just came over here with a bad roster. We were like, they're talking about him. Let's see what he went over there with a stacked team. But he's now in jeopardy of going somewhere and not actually winning. Because I thought that was one of his greatest stats. Every city he plays in, he has brought a championship to. I think that's awesome. I am rooting for him quietly. But also, when I talk to LeBron fans, I want to say this, like, you guys, you're arguing the wrong points for LeBron. I don't think you should talk about his stats. I don't think he should. If anything, if I was a LeBron fan, I would talk about the other things he's done. I really would. I'd talk about the schools he builds, his philanthropy, his family life, stuff like that. And me being a father, let me take these glasses off. Father of the decade, bro. To not only get his son on the team, and I think Bronny gets listen, Bronny, boy, you want to talk about how proud I am of that kid. Not only to have the heart attack, fight through that, right? And still play basketball, then get put on a team with your dad in the brightest lights possible. That he's even made a shot ever is commendable. I was watching his first game with my sons and I wanted to cry again. I said, that is LeBron James' son. They're on the court together. Oh, proudest moment of any father anywhere, just to accomplish that. But the last thing he did, where he secured his son a contract on the Lakers, and I said, I'm out. I said, slow clap, bro. Father of the decade, LeBron, well done. And Bronny, I'm so proud at how he's handling it. He's got the right temperament. He's not letting anything bother him. You can see the normal. He's human. He's human. I relate. I get being born into the limelight. You know what I mean? And it's normal to him. He's just like, whatever, man. Yeah, my dad's super famous. Probably one of those famous people in the world. So what? I just want to play basketball. And it's like, awesome. You know what I mean? I grew up with that type of, look, dad is on stage and da-da-da. Oh, your brother won an Oscar. What about you? I'm like, I don't know. Shoot, maybe I'll get one. Like, it never felt like pressure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even then, So anyway, I definitely applaud LeBron. I appreciated LeBron. I wish he stayed less years. I really do. I mean, even if he left a few years ago, and we didn't get, but again, I can hear the debaters in my mind go, well, if he left, then Luka wouldn't have been able to come over here. You wouldn't have what you have. Yeah, whatever. Right now, he left. I still think we're in a good spot. I think we have a better team now that he left than we had before he came. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So life without LeBron is not like, well, y'all right back to the bottom. That's what I was laughing at people. Oh, you're back to the bottom of the West again. No, we're not. What is wrong with y'all? What makes y'all think Luka is just nothing? Luka's nothing? Knock it off. Knock it off. We're building around him. They're responding. We've got a billionaire franchise behind, these people that put all this money bought us for $10 billion and they're sparing no expense. So we're not worried about that anymore. Which I never thought we were, which is kind of funny. I'm like, Lakers worried about money? But they're building around him. They're listening to him. And between the lines, I heard that LeBron and Luka actually had an issue.
Oh, I heard something like that too, but I couldn't imagine it.
It's like, if I could, I guess I'm a devil's advocate. This is what I say. So when my friend Marcus, and we argued about this, he was like, this is the super conspiracy theory. This is not my theory. Don't you chop this up in a weird soundbite. But he said Luka and Reaves faked injuries at the end just so that LeBron would just like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like, it sounded like the dumbest thing. No. Why would you risk the chance at having one extra ring, knowing LeBron was only going to be there for another year or two max any way? Like, that's just the dumbest thing ever. I don't think they went that far, especially the way an AR, he had to come back and he had the ball. He wouldn't have got his contract. So, but Luka, I do believe there was a little behind the scenes. I don't know. But just common sense and feeling it out and going, oh, okay, all right, how many high fives and hugging and kiss? LeBron really isn't that type of guy anyway. The only guy he said was his friend was like AD, you know what I mean? They were close. But the Luka thing, I can see him kind of going, all right, move on. This is my team. Let me, bye. But I don't think not to the extent of faking an injury. But I'm certain that played a big part in LeBron saying, all right, I'm out of here. Like, why else would you just be like, all right, I'm gone? Okay, I got Luka. We're going to build around. We're going to get some better players. Maybe I'll get one more ring in before I leave LA. No, he was just like this. Nah, Luka don't want me here. I'm definitely gone. I'm not fighting this kid. Let me go find another place where I can start over. So God bless him, and I wish him the best.
On to your personal life, though. You, like I said when we first did this, you have a lot of you have an interesting way at how you do comedy, at how other comedians do comedy. You don't judge them, but there are certain things you won't do. And you did go on a very eloquent rant about the Kevin Hart roast. Are roast just not your thing?
Me personally, I don't feel there are certain things that I don't think are necessary in comedy. I don't mind roasting. I was at the Hollywood Improv about a month ago, and I remember they were just outside in a circle, just snapping on each other. And I remember, like, I walked by, I was like, all right, you know what I mean? And I went inside, whatever, got on stage for a minute. Excuse me. Then I left, and I remember I was going to my car. One of the guys was like, hey, man, is it cool if we roast you, get at you? And I'm like, if you have to ask, the answer's no. And then, I said something crazy, whatever, and it got off. It's fine. Like, you say something crazy about me, I'm coming right back at you. When I do my comedy on stage, I've had people say things like, oh, all right, I'm not sitting in the front. I don't want you picking on me. And I go, I don't do that. I don't feel like I should make my audience uncomfortable at any time. If I pay good money to see a show, I shouldn't have to be part of the show, right?
Yeah.
That's one school of thought. On the flip side, some people come to the show to get made fun of and be part of the show. And it's usually Caucasians. I don't know why. They're usually a drunk white guy somewhere going, talk about me, man. I was trying to get you to say something. And I was like, I was trying to ignore you and stick to my material. Like, I got stuff to get off, man. I'm not, but I can improvise. I roll with the punches. If someone says something crazy, you shut their ass down or you tune them out. There's two different ways. If you're one of those guys that like to go back and forth, then you hope somebody says something and then you destroy them. Me, I'm more of a don't give them the attention that they're looking for if they're going to disrupt the flow, right? So with the roast, it's definitely an art form. My hat's off. I produced a show called Funny AF, and we put it on Tubi. And recently, Kevin Hart did a show called Funny AF, and his was on Netflix. Fair enough. And I wanted to hate it. But it was awesome. Hats off, Kevin. It was awesome because it gave a lot of insight on the stand-up comedy world, crowd work, developing jokes, building relationships, the camaraderie comedians have, and punching up each other's jokes and helping. Oh, it was brilliant. A lot of insight, a lot of good stuff, and how to set up a joke and how to deliver the punchline. Because when I started out with stand-up, my main motivation was the actor strike. They said work is going to stop, but not because you're not getting any offers or anything, but you're not supposed to cross the picket line.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, then I'm going to go on the road and do stand-up. And I'm doing, since I had a name, people were showing up just like, Omar Gooding's comedy show. Great. We get to see him, maybe take a picture, talk about Baby Boy or a smart guy. And then hopefully he has some funny people up there. And that's kind of my whole thing at the beginning. And then one of my comedians, my dear friend Charles Allen, said, why don't you do a set tonight? And I was like, no, I won't do a set. I like hosting because I can just go crack some jokes. And then if something don't work, I can bring up a comedian and let him do his thing.
Yeah.
But then I said, you know what? Let me try it. And I've never been nervous like that in my whole life, man. I used to be nervous, but it's been a long time since I had that nervous energy. I didn't realize I was nervous. I was talking to people fast and I was like, what is wrong with me, right? And I got up there and I went through all of my material. And once I got to the end of it, I said, all right, sorry, y'all. I said, that's my time. And everybody went, oh. And I was like, oh, snap. And I was like, all right, but I'll be back, whatever. And I got off stage. I was like, man, it felt like 5 minutes. I don't know what, I thought I had more material. They said, bro, you were up there for 18 minutes. You didn't realize you were that long? I was like, damn, no, I had no idea. And I realized it was therapy. Anything that I had gone through, anything that I have an issue with, I talk about it on stage. You ever have a conversation with a friend and you're mad about something and you're like, and this happened and that happened, and he's laughing.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden you're laughing. You're like, why are you laughing? That's not funny, man. This happened to me. And then now you're both laughing. It's therapy. So with me, I just feel like, because this was my journey, and I'm really trying to long-windedly answer your question. In my journey in comedy, I never liked doing physical comedy, right? So that goes to the not wearing a dress and a lipstick and all that. I don't think I need to do that to be funny because I can take a line that's not even meant to be funny. I was the setup guy at first. Hanging with Mr. Cooper, a lot of those lines were, hey, Coop, what are you doing here today? And he goes, Urban, I'm here to blah, 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 blah. And he's got the funny stuff. But I took the hey Coop and made that funny. Hey Coop, what you doing here? And now they're laughing at that. I knew I had to make the most out of every opportunity at a young age. So my whole thing was that they said, why don't you come in and you fall on the floor and you land on your face? I said, how about if I find a way to make it funny without doing that? Oh, go ahead and try it. And I say something a certain way. I change this or I flip this here and they go, oh, that's even better. Good job, right? I think it's not as creative if you think you have to go the physical route. I think people are lacking imagination. I've been doing, comedy. I've been funny. I love to laugh my whole life. And that's basically how I roll. But that's also why I stay away from, crowd work on the negative side. I like crowd work inclusive. You want to get your crowd involved. People want to go to the show and feel they're involved. You talk about their city. You ask them where they're from. You say something funny about that. You talk about what, But I'll be like, what this clothes you got on? And make them feel embarrassed about what they're wearing or how fat they are. Some weird, you know what I mean? So yeah. There's ways to poke fun so that we're all laughing together. I do jokes about being heavy and overweight and stuff. I talk about myself. I talk about how big guys have struggles and stuff, and I make it fun and funny. And then before you know it, everybody's laughing.
Okay. So you actually did a show. That's how you met one of my friends. And that's how we linked up. When you're traveling, when you're going through these different cities, how do people approach your shows? Like, is that immediately just a bunch of people that just want to talk about Baby Boy and all this? Or are they kind of like this, where I just want to pick your brain?
Combination. When I started, it was that, like I said, other than like the very first time where I know they enjoyed the show, but when they got to see me afterwards for like the meet and greets, it was just like, man, I loved you and Baby Boy. Can I get a picture? And I'm like, you gonna say nothing about the 15 minutes I just did on set. I just want to talk about Baby Boy. And that just made me better. Yeah. It made me go, okay, I really got to get into it. Like then people would talk to me and say, hey man, I loved your set, but you didn't say anything about Wild and Crazy Kids. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Oh, wait, I see. So if you hear that somebody that you know that you're a fan of is going to be somewhere and they're actors and they've done a lot of different things, you may have that one favorite thing. Like you may meet my brother and want to talk about radio. You say, bro, I want to know, like, how did you get into that? Was that prosthetics? Did you get punched in the mouth with your teeth and your hair? Or did you have to go to some place? He said, we have a question, but he may not want to talk about it. But if you see him, you'll be like, damn, I really wanted to know about that. So when I go on stage now, I have a complete show. You know what I mean? Okay. I do a couple drop-ins where I do 10 minutes here, 15 minutes. But when I headline, I give you a full hour and I cover it all. You know,
Mhm.
I just recently added some stuff about family time because I got that again. Somebody said, "Man, you talked about everything except family time. We want to know how that went." I'm like, "Got you, got you." And that's what the people want. You know, when they see my name, they want to know about that. They also want to know about my brother. They also want to know about my father. They want to know how I was growing up, and I touch on a little bit of everything.
Is there ever a point, and it's okay to be honest because we're all being human, where it gets a little annoying? If you have the particular fan that is asking you about Cuba or about your dad and not really about you, because I know it's had to happen at least once.
Great question. And I like that you started with it's okay to be honest. Don't give me the political answer. I love my fans. I'm very gracious. Of course, everyone can get a picture. Of course, it's annoying, but it's annoying in a good way, right? Because I do have to go back to the political answer, which is, you know, I'm always hard on celebrities that are upset that people are approaching them when they're out in public. Like, these are the people that really pay your bills, bro. These are people that don't get to see you all the time. They're not used to this, and they don't know if they'll ever see you again. Take the moment, take the picture, move on with your life. It's just a selfie. It's just a quick, okay, and I gotta go. You're eating, I know. Let me finish. All right, absolutely. If I can finish chewing, we can take that picture. Or, you know what, let's do it, and I have food in my teeth, right? Whatever the case is, it doesn't take that long to make somebody's life, if not their day at least. You know what I mean? The annoying thing I've learned, I'm almost 50. I've learned that people are different. Not everybody's. The best thing in the world is when I'm walking to someone and someone go, "Hey, man." And I look over and I go, I'll be like, and I keep walking. That's the best. Because they're like, I get it. I don't want to do, but I just want you to, I'll be like, man, right? But not everyone is like that. Some people walk up thinking they know me. And I think I don't remember everybody. So I'm just like, what's up? How are you? I'm good. How's everybody? They're like, nice to meet you. I'm like, oh, dang it. Okay, yes, nice to meet you too. And then they'll just, you know, they'll do too much. And you just got to be able to stand up for yourself. A lot of people can't. If you don't know how to stand up for yourself, then stay home. Then hire a bodyguard. Then make sure you have security with you. But if you stand up for yourself, you just got to know, look, I don't mean to be mean, but I got to just, you know, like you see me rushing through somewhere. Hey, Omar, huh? Yeah, okay. But okay, I'll be right back, I promise. You know, that's the only time I blow people off if I'm really in a hurry. And if I'm out and about, you know I can't just go raggedy. I can't go nowhere without my hair comb, my shirt on, this and that, because everybody gonna want a picture and now it's all over the internet. Look at this bummy. He done ran out of money. Look at him. You know, there's certain things that come with the life that you just have to understand. That's why we get paid what we get paid. That's why, you know, so that we can protect ourselves in that way and protect our peace. But I don't want to hear Eminem writing a song about leave me alone with my daughter at McDonald's. Bruh, let's hire a chef. What are you talking about? If I see Eminem at McDonald's, I'm going crazy. Oh my God, Eminem, I need a picture. Like, are you kidding? I can imagine the average fan that don't get to meet you, you know? So anyway, that's just my take.
Okay. I love that you mentioned Eminem because you do have a story about not being able to be in 8 Mile and
Oh man,
all that kind of stuff. It really goes down to a lot of people will get probably nervous when they see you or, you know, see the last name Gooding. You know, what is one thing that you will say to fans on top of, hey, if I'm super busy and you could tell, don't come up to me. But
No. I would never tell a fan that, you know, because you never know. Like you said, it's your last chance. Like I'll have people, because I travel so much.
Yes.
They'll see me rushing through the airports and then I'll get a DM. I saw you in the airport, didn't want to bother you. That's fine, bother me. I'm good. I mean, again, honestly, the only time I get put off is if I'm not disturbed. If I walk through a crowd of people and then not one person said, hey man, love your work, or just want to, is that you? Then I'll be like, I got to step it up, man. Ain't nobody said nothing. I walk through a whole crowd of people and nobody say nothing. No, but yeah, no, I have no problem with any of that. Just know that we're human. Everybody's human. It's just a job. It really is. I mean, it's a good job. And there's responsibility. Like, you know, when you do interviews, things you say goes a long way. A lot of people appreciate these interviews, and I appreciate you also for having this platform. They appreciate the insight. They like to know how people think and to know that we're all human, man. We don't have anything figured out. A lot of this is guesswork. I don't like to say this is that and that is this. This is just my opinion. You know what I mean? It's an educated opinion, and by education, I mean trial and error. I've lived through a lot of things. I've met a lot of people. I've been around a lot of circumstances and situations. that I've made it out of unscathed relatively because I've had common sense and a mother that prays, and that helps because it's a lot of it's mental. It's real trying. People that go through auditions and they don't get the part. People that have meetings and then they wind up being passed on. There's always something else that you can't control that may be the deciding factor in you getting the part or landing the role or landing the company or whatever it is. And this is all business. And you have no control over that. So you have to let things roll off your back, and you got to maintain your confidence by having confidence in yourself, having strength of character and your inner man being strong. So whatever you need to do that, you have to do that. And you have to be prepared before you enter anything. And preparation is freaking key. They throw booby traps. And the new thing now is self-tapes. And I hate self-tapes because I'm the king of the room. I like to walk in, look person in the eye and talk to them. Hey, how you doing, man? Look at them shoes. I'm okay, all right. Self-tape is just, I'm just staring at nothing. You know what I mean? But you have to master that because that's just how the world is. But you got to know that you got to sell yourself. You got to be prepared. There's a booby trap. They say you don't have to memorize the material. That's a lie. For one, you're not going to do a good enough performance, as good a performance as you are if it's not memorized. That's just for one. So why would you memorize it? Okay. And it's also, that's like one of the rules we want to see. Is this guy going to do the work? Is he going to memorize it? Okay. All right. Now we see what they're working with. Internet connection. I've seen someone almost lose an entire job because their internet was bad. And they're like, well, this person don't know about Wi-Fi, then I don't know what's going on. It's changed, man. It's changed. It's changed for the better. But just, you got to stay prepared. That's my overall advice to people that are doing this. And it's, preparation, memorizing, finding different ways to tackle each role that you wouldn't have thought about. It's crazy. It's kind of like, as I'm raising kids, I try to teach them my model that I'm telling them is because they play chess. Imagine that. And I go, play chess in life. Because chess is, you think a couple moves ahead. So you want to do this and you get impulsive, but what's going to happen? That's going to happen. This may happen. You may get in trouble or do this. You'll be all right, blah, blah, blah. Way decision making. You can carry that everywhere. And, you'll do an audition. And as soon as you leave the audition, you go, man, I could have did it like this. So that's all in preparation. You memorize it. You do it the way you think it is. And now try something else. The funnest thing about auditions that I liked about live auditions, where you would have a casting director or an actual director in there, is you study, you get it, and then you pour your heart out and you do it. And then it's done and they go, not bad. Now try it again, but this time act like you just had a long day and you're tired. Take all of the energy out of it and just say it plain, go. And then you do it so natural and you're just like, wow, I didn't even think about that. All right, now try it one more time, but act like your feet are burning hot. So you have like a little bit of a nervous twitch about now go. I tried it and you're like, oh, wow, you know what I mean? The director's awesome because they'll just give you something that you didn't even think about. Wow, I never thought about it like that. And it'll open up a new world. So given that, when you have an opportunity to present something, and like I said, if it's other field of work as far as preparation, we got to think outside the box. If it's acting, it's the same thing. Why would they hire you? Why would they choose you? Because of what you brought to this role. So think about how everyone else is going to read it and change. And I used to go in, that's another thing I liked about live auditions. You walk in, you're supposed to be an office person in the office. You walk in, everyone's got a tie on, including you. Take the tie off. Everybody's buttoned up, unbutton it. You know what I mean? Everybody's got on long sleeve, roll them up. Like you got to say, I got to stand out from these people in some kind of way. You know what I mean? So that's why I love the auditions. And now with the self-tape, you just got to be even more creative. You got to give them more. Don't do one take. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different takes and go from there. Sorry.
We're definitely going to have to do this again come the NBA season, see exactly where your thoughts are, where my team is, and we could just talk shit the entire time.
We gonna definitely do that. I predict similar standings this time around. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and predict similar Western Conference 1 through 5. Let me see who. Timberwolves is still pretty good too. Yeah, I think we're gonna be close to the same. Now, East is gonna be shooken up, but yeah, them Sixers is gonna be something else. But that's what I was gonna say about LeBron. I think for sure. Let's see. I'm still making these predictions. So now that I know this is recorded, we're going to come back like, play the tape. What did he say? My initial response was he's not going to play every game, obviously.
Yeah.
I think he's going to come out. He's going to be all right. They're going to obviously have to gel. They're not going to win as many as people think, but that's fine. I think over the course of the 2 years that he's there, he'll definitely have them championship ready. I don't think they'll win it all this year. I just don't think it'll happen. With injuries and so forth and so on, anything could happen. Plus, the Knicks, I think, really have something to prove. If they go up against the Knicks, it's going to be a problem. The thing that LeBron keeps doing is he keeps resetting the roster everywhere he goes, and it's like you're not going to just gel. I mean, you're great and all, but they're not going to just win it right away like that. No, it even took us a few years until even when AD came, and it was like, all right, and then bam. But anyway, so I think there's going to be some learning curves there for them, and I think we're going to have. I think everyone's like, oh, they're going to go all the way and you guys are going to be trash. No, I think there's a medium. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think they'll be 4th or 5th. We'll be 4th or 5th. And we'll both make some noise, but it should be, I'm just excited. I can't wait. I can't wait to get started. I can't wait for the season to start. But definitely we're going to circle back. We got to circle back like around November.
We could definitely do
right
that.
For the Christmas. Yeah, right for the Christmas and all that matchups. You know what I mean? Let's get it.
Is that's after the little play-in tournament that they do?
Yeah,
right?
that's about right there. Yeah.
Where can everybody find you?
Find me on omargooding.net. You'll find out I have all of my show dates for my comedy. I have some seminars. I'm doing a little bit of everything. Got a film that I just finished, a new one that I'm starting tomorrow. I actually got to fly out to Mississippi. I have a series that I'm developing. I have a series that I'm a part of called Meemaw. Roseanne Barr. That's another entirely long. We need a whole set. We need 2 hours to talk about that. And it's funny thing. I will say this. You know, I got a lot of heat when I posted a picture of me and Roseanne and the whole cast. I'm happy for the whole cast. I love Roseanne as a person. We were able to talk. We were able to work together. All these scenes. She's awesome. And then I saw her talk about how much she loves Trump. And I went, son of a bitch. If you led with that, maybe I wouldn't be. No. But we should see. It's a real exciting year, man, on a lot of fronts. But Instagram, @OmarGooding. Facebook, although I'm never really on it, the Omar Gooding. But go to omargooding.net. I'll keep you posted on everything I got going.
That was this week's interview. Obviously, you had to have loved it because you stayed towards the end, and we really appreciate that. But please hit the subscribe button. Like, comment, even share. Helps me and helps my guests. And if you want to stay here a little bit longer, we have previous weeks where we interviewed some of the most best people on this planet. Plus, you can head over to the Crash Pad where you can see me, Erebus V, and It's Bacon just mark out on some wrestling, whether you want to get into wrestling or already been a fan for years. Come and see our reactions. You never know what you're going to get.